peace, infinite waters diving deep once again. Before you pull your hair out, stress, more stress. And whenever the sun is out, I just feel all the time just to take it easy, relax. And I always say relaxation is what you are, stress is what you think you should be. How many of us are on the planet really like cockroaches just rushing around? And for me, when we talk about how do we deal with stress, and I realize that stress essentially is an energy imbalance. And really, our body is communicating to us all the time. And whenever we're stressed, our body is giving us that knock knock. Who's there? And even on my journey, there was a time when I got so stressed when I was finishing my studies a long time ago. And it made me actually look at my life. So I always say that sometimes stress is not necessarily a negative thing. There is no negative or positive. There's only consequences. And even if we're in stressful situations, we can use those experiences to propel us to greater heights. And it's funny because sometimes, especially now on the planet, when there's just this information explosion, or the third eye explosion, which I call it, where people are having this grand awakening. They're stepping into the world and it's like they're being born again. Not in the religious sense, but in a spiritual sense, because there's a difference. They always say, religion is for people who are afraid of going to hell. Spirituality is for people that have already been there. And when we talk of stress, I just realized that there's so many things we all can do just to keep our energy levels in balance. And for me, on my journey, what I love to do, especially when the weather is beautiful like this, in front of the sun, you can't really be too stressed. And I feel there's a correlation here. That's why in so many hot countries, generally, people are more relaxed. I definitely feel the weather has a lot to play into people's stress levels. But at the same time, if you can't afford a holiday, you're going to become even more stressed. So that's how the cycle continues. It's like people with no money are stressed. People with a lot of money are not stressed. But that's where we get it wrong as well, because stress is not really dependent on financial wealth. Sometimes the more you have, the more problems you have. And I've seen that on my journey. Stress in my mind is a state of mind. And when we talk about the underlying causes of it, a lot of the times it's our lifestyle. It's the diet we're eating. Many of us on the planet, humanity's diet is what is keeping us in a low vibration. Many of us were eating meats which are putrefying in our guts. The meats have also, the animals have been killed they've been tortured. Anyone, I recommend, watch Slaughterhouse if you can. And you see what goes on behind the scenes. But all of this energy is being transferred, and it's also creating stress within ourselves. And I just found on my journey, embracing a more holistic, healthier, plant-based diet has definitely reduced my stress levels. And I've seen the clear correlation, the before and after, the photo. And as well, I just find as well, just stretching, whatever you do. You don't have to do yoga. You don't have to do acrobatics or be a gymnast. All you have to do, for me, on my journey, I'm realizing, just stretch your arms out. And this creates the flow within the body once again. It unblocks the blocked energy. And this is where acupuncture comes into play. And I just find as well, listening to music can soothe you so much. A lot of us, we even overlook this. And that's why through universal mind control, they're getting the young ones through this music, which is really keeping them in a low vibration, but more so it's actually making them more stressed. And that's how it is. It's amazing because sometimes when people are stressed, what do? you run to a counselor, or you run to someone, or you buy a book. Someone is going to help you solve all of your problems. You're stressed. Okay, let me give you a consultation. How much do you charge? I'm going to charge you £100. £100? That's even going to make me more stressed. So it's amazing. This cycle continues. And that's why when you realize that you're your own salvation, you are your own physician, then your stress levels decrease. When you give yourself value, when you give your life value, when you realize I am worthy, when you say that you are worthy, you're worth it, then the stress levels also decrease. For me, I've just realized that it's all about keeping alive the inner child within you. And on my journey, I just realized that I don't have to be serious all the time. I don't have to be rigid all the time. I don't have to be in fear all the time. We can essentially let go. We can transcend our own expectations. And when we talk about stress, a lot of us are not really being humorous. We're not actually going back to how it was when we were children, when we lived in a state of non-judgment, because that's what it essentially means to be free, to live in a state of non-judgment. And stress, in my mind, is caused by expectation. When you let go of society's expectation, then the stress levels decrease. When you let go of what your friends or family think, then your stress levels decrease. When you they always say, becoming embarrassed. The first time you became embarrassed was the first time you became stressed. That's what they always say. And when you think about it, it's true. Because many of us, we have this ego interfering with everything we do. And a lot of the times it's like that. I just see it in my own journey. A lot of the times when I'm embarrassed, it's because I'm trying to hide something. I'm trying to control something. When we realize that control itself is an illusion, all we can control really and truly is our own internal condition. But everything external is beyond our control. How people perceive us, what they think of us, we have no control over. I have no control over who sees this video and what you think. You might think I'm a wonderful person. You might think I'm a beep, so it goes like that. But at the same time, I'm not going to stress over it, because you got to keep it moving. But a lot of the times the stress goes back to our lifestyle. More so, it goes back to our belief system, because it's all BS. So the belief systems we have, so many of us, we have limiting belief systems. And for me, I've just realized as soon as I let go of self-limiting belief systems, the stress levels also decrease. And a lot of limiting belief systems are, I'm not good enough. These things only happen to those people over there. This will never happen to me. I am a victim. All of these self-limiting belief systems is what keeps us in a big state of stress. But also, more so, how are we interacting with the world around us? Are we creating harmony, or are we creating chaos? This is what we have to ask ourselves. Even when we go into work, am I working in an environment which is promoting my health, or am I working in an environment which is draining me dry? Because you have a lot of leeches out there. And for me, that's what it all goes back to. It goes back to questioning. The most fundamental question we have to ask is why. And we always ask why as a child. Somewhere along the line, that question disappears, which is the most essential one of our human existence. So for me, that's how it goes. Stress, in my mind, is not positive or negative. There's only consequences, because at the same time, stress can also be that key to change. Sometimes you have to go through the fire You have to walk on fire, get your feet hot before you know what it's like not to be in the fire. And stress, in a way, serves as an indicator, essentially a barometer for our own health and wellness. So it's helping us see if we're in balance or not. But how are we supposed to be living? Everyone has a different calling. For me, I am striving to make my life simple, more simpler every single day, because I realize that we have to keep it simple. Simplicity is the highest form of sophistication, and I'm realizing when you let stuff go, stress disappears. The more you accumulate, the more stress you have. It doesn't matter if you accumulate in our own persona, which is the mask. In ancient Greece, they used to wear the mask, the persona. They used to speak through masks in their theaters. And that's the thing, you are not a person. You are not your name. You're not your bank account. You're not none of these things. You're not your job. Beyond all of that, there's something greater. And for me, when I realized that stress disappeared, when I also realized that many of us, we've been under the spell of religious indoctrinations. When you let that go, stress also disappears, because you realize that essentially we are part of the fabric of everything around us. And that's how I've seen it on my journey. Being free is our birthright. And for me, stress just disappears, just to realize, as human beings, the sun doesn't charge you to shine on your face. That is the biggest gift we have right there, up there. And that's how it is. Man charges you for everything. Man enslaves his own kind. All of this creates stress. And for me, when I realized that, you have to realize that universal law is the only true law, not man-made law. That frees you. That lets the stress also disappear. But stress can also help you along the way to show you who you really are, because the body doesn't lie. It's a beautiful day. Infinite waters. Diving deep once again. Stay well, stay healthy. Peace.